And some of those people in our forum that really ridicule our program on the basis of not censoring them remain there. And even their questions get asked to the guests. So opposing points of view do get espoused. Some of those have been on the program. I don't filtrate them. But as I say, I don't go and look and say, well, we had a UFO guy here today, so let me go get somebody who says they're just weather balloons tomorrow. We don't do that. We just wait.
Right.
We just have guests. Now, but you mentioned entertaining. Now, that is something I can address. Sure. If you look at the byline in our website, it says entertaining, enlightening, and controversial. But if you look at the entertaining part, that is simply, there is a component of that, and it has to do more with parodies and different collages that we put together to lighten the moment, because some of the things we talk about are pretty heavy.
Right. I mean, I agree. You can do both, more or more than two, whatever. You're right. You can do all of those elements and put that all in place. But I guess kind of my challenge to you would be, you keep saying that you listen to the call of the people, so to speak, the people who listen to the program, and they give you suggestions. But if you're a true seeker of the truth, if you really want to find out what the truth is, right, I would think that even yourself would go out there, find people who have contrary opinions, bring them on, and let's discuss this in a very real and honest and open way.
Oh, Reginald,
to make sure that people are being fooled.
Okay, yeah. Well, that happens.
Right?
That happens on its own anyway, because of all the UFO people we've had on, I would say most of them would agree maybe half of the way and disagree the other half. So there are plenty of opposing viewpoints on any topic.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I don't filter opposing viewpoints at all. There's no need to, because the people with opposing viewpoints, as I said, as the common nature of getting to the truth is, that person which may oppose something one guest said earlier, that person may have that piece of nugget of truth that will maybe add to the person who was on previous that had the exact opposite viewpoint. The truth can come from any direction, and that's what the edge is all about. So, no, we don't have a predilection to prove anything, nor are we seeking guests to say, this is our point of view. If you agree with it, come on the program. I would not want a program with everyone that believes like I do. It would be pretty boring.
I mean, I kind of agree with you in a sense. I agree that the truth can probably come from various individuals, but I wouldn't necessarily say that, I mean, of course, that we'll find the truth by using any direction. And I think that's where my filtration will become to come into play, is that I'd be definitely very wary of and very skeptical of the claims people are making. And the first thing I'd ask is something that we should all apply when people make claims, and use those same basic principles we were taught in primary school. And that is the who, what, when, where, why, and how. And we have to do that. And I think that, unfortunately, we give a free pass when it comes to those paranormal issues, religion included, and things of that nature. And again, if there are other answers that could probably satisfy those things, you would think that people really searching the truth, that they take that into account and say, that's interesting too, I never considered that, then I really don't know. Let's keep looking. Mm-hmm. And I think that what happens is too many people make the conclusion before they really have investigated thoroughly. And once you've done that, then it's like the evidence is overwhelming, of course, for your position. As you know, I could say that I believe that there are Smurfs in the backyard. Well, if I already believe that there are Smurfs there, well, I'm going to start finding funny straw little teepees or some extra mushrooms now and again, and then that's going to be my evidence. And I kind of think people do the same thing when it comes to UFO beliefs. Again, I'm not saying, and I want to make sure your listeners understand this, I'm not saying that UFOs don't exist. I'm not even saying aliens don't exist. But what I'm saying is we must be careful about our standard of evidence. Otherwise, we're going to believe anything people tell us. And people can exploit us when that happens.
Well, I think people are trained to believe certain ways. So if you have a belief system, the chances are you grew up with it and you were trained for it. And most of us are just going along with that, how we've learned to interpret the things that we see and feel. But we may agree a little bit here, because I think the way it sounds like you come at it is that you tell me what you got to say, but I'm going to test you every step of the way before I agree with you, or something to that effect. Or maybe that you're a skeptic to begin with, and then you're going to, probably from a skeptic's point of view, try to knock down everything I said. But I, on the other hand,
neither one of those, but okay.
But I go the other way. I go this way. You come on the program. As far as I'm concerned, you are who you say you are. You've seen what you say you've seen. You've been abducted. Okay. Why, who am I to say that didn't happen to you? So from that standpoint, I will go with this person is of equal value to everyone else that's been on the show. Some people don't go through the same the gridiron of cranking truth because they have credentials. But I say everyone is on the same plane. I'm no respecter person when it comes to that. Although as I interview a person, if I feel their story has got some tatters or some tests, there are some tests applied. But I won't seek to ridicule them in their belief or even change their belief, but maybe kind of point out, because you're only in the course of an hour, you're only going to remember just a little bit of what you heard. And in everyone's track of life, our job is just maybe drop a little bit of truth in somebody's life, and later down the road, somebody else will drop that little bit of truth.
I agree totally, Daniel. But again, what you're saying though, it's going to be hard to drop truth anywhere because if people are all over the map, how are we going to know where the truth even lies if you're not critically challenging what people are saying every step of the way? Then it'll be hard to find the truth. People will just listen to what they say and just accept it if people don't step in, because we aren't trained to really think critically. We are pattern-seeking creatures. We want to find meaning in almost everything. As human beings, we kind of do this naturally. So if we want to be more rational and truth seekers, I think we have to jump right in there, and we do need to stop people, because if someone tells me, Daniel, that, well, a dragon ate my grandmother and crapped diamonds, I'm not going to say, interesting. Tell me more about this. I'm going to say, what?
Why not?
Because my first question would be, okay, were you? How do you know you weren't dreaming? Because again, people can claim they experienced anything. And listen to me, Daniel. Listen to me. I just wanted to make this point before I forget that people's experiences are real. I want to make sure your listeners understand this and mine. I believe totally what they claim they believe. Again, the issue isn't though whether I don't think they're lying. Most of them, I think some do, as you would agree. But I think the issue though is, what if it is something else? But in the realm of the supernatural, Daniel, it seems like, or the paranormal, anything is a go. We need a standard of evidence. We need a filtration system to make sure we aren't buying into bull crap. Because if we are going to accept everything, then we will continue to accept everything.
Well, that standard of filtration, that standard of filtration has been in place for years, and it pretty much has squelched all debate. Basically, to that, there is nothing outside of the known realm, which is utterly absurd. But so that same filtration device needs to be backed off because it's on its highest setting and has been forever. And so the truth is,
man, Daniel, I wouldn't say that. I'm allowing the possibility for any of this to be real, but there's a difference. I will bring people on who will believe this. Like I said, if someone says that a dragon ate their grandmother and he craps diamonds, come on, I'll bring them on, but I'm going to ask them a whole bunch of questions. I'm just going to say,
well, to me, it's
wow, it's a wonderful story. Have a nice day.
Yeah, well,
and now I have 10,000 believers in diamond crapping dragons.
Yeah,
well, we're not going to stop that because if I'm about the truth, I want to make sure I share the truth.
Well,
and I want to help people get to the truth.
Well, see, I look at it. It's like the hitchhiker. There might be one murderer out there, but most of them aren't. So that's why I look at a guest story. If they say they seen a dragon, if I wasn't there and in the room, then I can't say they didn't. And so then I look for a coherent story.
Go ahead. I'm just thinking about. I mean, I hear this quite often, Daniel, but you can't really say that. Do you believe in forensic science?
I think. Well, sure, of course. Science is science, and science can be tampered with, and science has been manipulated.
So you agree with me then, Daniel, that you do not have to be there in order to make a judgment call?
Well, you can't perform forensic science on the air. You can't apply you just said forensic science on the case of I guess the example was a fire-breathing dragon. You can't do that on the air, can you?
Well, no, but that wasn't really the point. I think we kind of jumped tracks here. That wasn't where I was going with that. I was just challenging directly what you were saying. But okay.
Well, maybe you need to reword it then.
Well, I don't understand what you were trying to say, but we have 10 minutes left at the top of the hour here. 888-503-0802. You're listening to Live with the Infidel Guy. We have Daniel